he's having that little keyhole operation.
He was sparring the other day.
Yeah, he is, but he can't. Go through a proper camp. So he's got a niggle in his arm, but he's tried to get rehab on it.
I thought, was trying to get me my pants down. That's the sparring. I was like, let me get up and go run it.
Come on, fight AJ. He's only got one arm.
Like I did when I fought him.
To be fair,
remember I fought with one arm. Remember?
Maybe he only needs one arm to beat you. You know what I'm saying?
He can't beat his meat. Anyway.
But anyway, as I was saying, I think that obviously that people.
There is a dig from Eddie Hearn to Dillian Whyte. Maybe he can beat you, or he can beat you with one arm. And let me counterpunch. Sure, it was a joke, but yeah, it was a slick-ass comment from Eddie Hearn. That was some slick stuff that Eddie Hearn said, the comment that he made. However, I will say this. Fair play to Dillian Whyte for bringing that out. Like, well, wait a minute, he was just sparring. Fuck is he doing, having surgery? Why is he having surgery and he was just sparring? I just saw him just sparring. And that's a good point. Why are you sparring? Why are you doing all these physical things? You seen him with Lawrence Akali. We seen that shit. We seen him spar with Lawrence Akali. And then Eddie responds that, well, he's not able to go through a full camp. Well, if you're injured and you need surgery, I don't give a shit who you are. That's not the smartest thing in the world to do. You see what I mean? Like, there is no reason to add insult or possible insult to injury. Further damagement for your injury doing something that you're not ready for. You see what I mean? That, like, those type of things don't make sense. Let me give you a prime example. It's Friday. Not this Friday, but was it last Friday? Last Friday, I went to the gym. And I was on the heavy bag, and I was doing combination drills, right? I was doing a set of fours. Just bap, 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 bap. And then, I worked up a sweat, got a little crunk. But remember, I have a shoulder injury right now. Right now. You know what I mean? This muscle back here is torn. It's torn. Now I'm on stem cell therapy right now. So I'm trying to do it without surgery because when they cut on you, you're not the same. Period. So, I'm, that adrenaline, and then that sweat, because I like to sweat, I like to work up a sweat. I like to work out. I like to train. And I messed around and came in and tweaked it. And I felt that tear further go down. And that made me stop in my tracks right there. If that being said, if this dude's sparring, whatever injury, the pinhole, whatever they said was up with him, that shit could get worse by doing that. Now, you could say, well, he's having a surgery anyway, but no, not on the projected surgery that he's going to have. If they say, hey, we only got to fix this part of the elbow or whatever, and then you go in there and spar, and then you make another damage, they're going to now have to look at that and say, well, wait a minute, this is a lot worse than we thought it was. Yeah, you could say, well, they could fix it, but you don't know what else it could damage. It's never a good idea to do that. So that was a dumb idea. So shout out to Dillian Whyte for pointing that out. Because why would AJ be sparring if he knows he has a surgery? You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I guess there's just two ways to look at it. But yeah, the doctors, I guess, could fix anything with the money that AJ got. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, I wouldn't be sparring with that. Eddie Hearn making slick caps that Anthony Joshua could beat Dillian Whyte with one arm. Of course, tell me what you think. Please subscribe, like, and share. And you guys been Counterpunch.